Hi. Happy Friday, first of all. But anyway, I'm dissatisfied. Nice to meet you, dissatisfied, said all the dads of the world. But no, really, I mean, like, I'm never satisfiable. I'm constantly wanting more. I wonder why that's not special. That's like everybody, right? Everybody wants more. Everybody's trying to achieve something. Everybody's trying to get to the next level, growing or earning or whatever it is. Everybody's just trying to get more of something. Why is it that some people can be satisfied and other people can't? It's a strange thing. I think that a lot of people try to fill that hole with more stuff. Obviously, that's not the right answer. Clearly. Anyone who's seen any kind of, I don't know, traditional means of character growing media for kids growing up and even as an adult, filling the hole with more stuff is not going to solve the issue of the hole, right? And if you're a Christian, obviously the whole Jesus-sized hole thing in your heart. I understand. And I'm, as a Christian, I'm saying this. I'm very aware. And despite my knowledge and my acceptance of Jesus in my life, that doesn't change the fact that my human nature just wants more. And let me explain. Even in terms of my faith, I want more. Like, it traverses over the line even of faith, this desire for more. Like, I want to be better at violin. I want to be a better person. I want to be a better son. I want to be a better... programming is whatever, but I want to be a better programmer, to some extent. I want to be a better, a brother at church, a better brother to my sister, a better cousin, a better everything. I want to be better. I want more. And I'm not saying that, obviously, there's going to be, no one's going to achieve the level of perfection. I think we might have talked about perfection before. No one's going to achieve the level of perfection, ever. But I can't help but chase it. It's such a strange thing. And I have this philosophy that I think is the healthiest way to approach the concept of better or more. And it's that if you have a target in front of you, which we all do, we all have a target in front of us. The only way to properly abuse or use the target is to aim for the center. Like, why would you shoot for anything else? It doesn't make any sense. That's perfect. Shooting for the exact dead center of the target, bullseye, that's perfect. That's the epitome of perfection. The danger of perfectionism is when you expect yourself to hit it every single time and you give yourself absolutely no quarter for your understanding your human nature, right? Giving yourself absolutely no, like, just being completely brutal to yourself and not accepting that you have the ability, or rather the inability to be perfect. You're not going to do it every single time. But it's like, well, what if... It's a strange thought. Maybe this is a dangerous thought. I don't know. Sorry, that's all rubbing up on the microphone. What if... Sorry about that. What if you just didn't have the target? What if you just took away the target? That sounds like chaos. I'm probably going to debunk my own little theory here as I'm doing this, but what if you just got rid of the target? Then there's nothing to shoot at. Does that just mean you don't shoot? Is there something else to shoot at? I don't know. It's starting to sound like chaos. It's starting to sound like it's completely a useless, meaningless life, right? That's kind of like, if you don't have a target, it's almost like saying there's no point in living, right? Because, the target in this analogy represents the idea and the concept of effort, of shooting for something, of aiming for something. Whether it itself, the target itself is not, something concrete. It is only something that is applied to everything within our lives already, right, in this analogy. So, not having a target means that you're just not gonna aim for anything, not do anything. So that doesn't sound right? That doesn't sound right. You still need to aim for something. You still need to go for something. So not having a target is not the answer to me. It doesn't sound like it. I feel like the target itself is not the evil, right? It's just how you treat the target. It's what you do with the target that is what's deciding what makes this a good or bad experience. This whole living life thing, right? And I'm just someone I'm so obsessed with, like, there's two things I'm obsessed with. One is the truth. I hate being lied to, and I hate, like, widely spread lies, which is why I love conspiracy theories, because it is, attempting to get at the truth of things, right? Trying to get at the bottom of things, right? So one thing I'm obsessed with is the truth. And that's why I like debating as well. And why and I don't mind being proven wrong. I don't easily just shift over. Obviously, I try to have some kind of, I came to my standpoints and presuppositions and positions, through thought. So I don't think it's smart or wise to just be like, oh, okay, I guess you're right. Let me just assume your worldview now, right? So that's why I'm obsessed with debates, and I like to, I don't mind being proven wrong if you've got the evidence, if you've got the proof, if everything makes sense logically. Because I'm obsessed with the truth. The other thing I'm obsessed with is perfection. Like, in everything. Like, in beauty, in executing. Like, when there are times that I exhaust myself, and because I think there's a certain level at which you need to be able to ignore this. Like, there are times, even just opening a door. Did I grab the handle in the right spot? Did I properly use the leverage to pull down on the handle and pull the door? How much power should I use? How fast should I open the door? Is that bad for the hinges? Is it gonna cause damage and wear faster than it should? Would it cause premature damage? How do I walk about the house? And I'm not constantly 100% conscious of this all the time. I'd go crazy. Anyone would. But I think I'm conscious of it a little bit more than, I don't know about most people. I haven't talked to many people about this particular thing, but I think I'm very conscious of it. And it's something that it's like, I'm kind of binary in my thinking, right? I'm very 0 or 1, which a lot of people have, told me is a dangerous thing. And I'm like, I'm not saying it is or isn't, but let's just walk through that here. Let's just kind of like do a little thought exercise here. Let's just walk through it. It's very difficult for me to accept something that's just kind of like in the middle somewhere, because it feels like, well, one is correct and the other one is incorrect. I don't want to be mostly correct with some modicum of incorrectness, right? I don't want to walk with some impurities in my white paint, right? I want it perfectly white paint. I don't want anything in it that's not white. I want it to be pure. So when I do things and when I act, on things, a lot of times, that's where my mindset naturally is. I just kind of want to do things perfect. And I understand. And the thing that's, now healthier about the way that I do things is that, I don't expect perfection every single time. I attempt it. And I try to be less cognizant of it in places where it's not absolutely necessary. But I do very much try to just accept that I'm human. Like, I think this is the analogy I gave someone one day. It's like, if you're an archer aiming for the center of the target, you must realize there's going to be certain wind conditions that are going to change how difficult it is to hit the target, right? There are things around you that are going to be moving, there could have been an earthquake, right? Maybe the target fell over. Maybe the target's in a tree. Maybe the target's being obscured by something. Maybe you can't even see the bullseye, but you know what the target is. And you need to be able to say, and this is a very real one. This is a very real one. Your arms might be tired. And if the wind's blowing, sometimes you don't know when the wind is exactly going to stop. There's no way to know. So you're just holding the bow. And holding back the bow, if it's a heavy bow, like a really heavy bow, that is really tiring. You're going to shake and you're going to shudder as you release the arrow. What you were aiming at a couple milliseconds before might be completely different. And depending on how far you are from the target, that's another one. How far are you from the target? Where's the distance? The wind doesn't even matter if you're 2 feet in front of it. But if you're, 60 meters from it, that's going to change a lot. What kind of bow do you have? What is the bow in this particular analogy, right? What is a bow even? I mean, you can make all kinds of, this analogy can be, made more analogous to, and you can find more, analogs for the little pieces of the analogy, like what's the bow, what's the strength, what's your height, what's the height of the target, what are these things in real life? You can always try to make all these connections. I'm sure it can go down, and that's another fun thought I'm probably just going to keep doing on my own later. But knowing that and being aware of that is where the health of perfection, I think, is. You should never not aim for the center of the target. I think sometimes I paint targets on things that there weren't in the first place. Like, maybe I'm a little bit too concerned about how I open a door. Like, I am aware of this. I understand this. It just happens in the background for me sometimes. Sometimes it's just kind of part of my personality. But that's one thing. Painting targets where they don't need to be. Right? And how do I know where they need to be and where they don't need to be? How do I know what target's already there and what targets I painted myself? Right? Any one of us. But being aware of all these things is where the health of perfection is, I think. Because you should never not aim for the center of a target. You should always aim for the center of a target. But just knowing that you don't have infinite strength. You don't have infinite, perseverance. You can't just hold the bow forever, right? Like if you played Zelda and you have the climbing bar, as you're climbing and you're holding on, you can't just climb forever. The grip meter just starts depleting, and then once it's out, you just slip down, right? That's everyone. How tall are you? You might not be the tallest person, so have your angle to the target might be, or depending on where the target is, and depending on the, we already talked about this, we just mentioned it. Yeah, I don't need to go back over it, but the whole point is just being aware of this stuff, all the different variables on the range as you're shooting. Are you even in a range? Are you in a field? Are you in a competition? Is there pressure, right? So that's just something I think is kind of cool. So I don't know. This is kind of a strange video, kind of slower paced, but I guess in the healthiest way possible, I wish you, anyone who's watching, a healthy journey in the pursuit of perfection.